When you think about the biggest problems facing us today, climate change might come to mind. It's an existential threat to everyone, everywhere. What is less known is how food is one of the biggest drivers of environmental damage, but is also one of the most significant opportunities to address climate change. Aotearoa, New Zealand and Chile are an ocean apart, but they have a lot in common. Their food systems are contributing to poor environmental and human health. A food system includes everything relating to how we produce and distribute food. They touch all things, from farms to governments to politics and people. In Aotearoa and Chile, food systems impact the environment in similar ways. Using fertilizers and pesticides to grow food pollutes soil and water, which are precious resources. Waste from animals also degrades waterways. Agriculture, especially animal farming, is the leading cause of biodiversity loss worldwide. In Aotearoa, 82% of native species are endangered, and 50% of Chile's native species are threatened. Food systems are responsible for huge amounts of emissions. Globally, a quarter of all greenhouse gases come from producing and distributing food. In Aotearoa, agriculture creates nearly half of all emissions, and 7% in Chile, though much of this has been offset by forestry. We need food systems because they provide the nourishment for us to live and thrive. But we also need them to be healthy. Right now, they create poor human health. Diet contributes significantly to cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, which are major problems in both Aotearoa and Chile. Food systems simultaneously cause obesity for some and undernutrition for others. 20% of New Zealanders and 16% of Chileans cannot access enough food despite there being more than enough. It's obvious that something needs to change. But how do you even begin to fix something so complex as a global or national food system? A national food strategy is one way to reorient a food system. It sets out the principles that the system should follow and can affect everything from farming to policy and even eating behaviours. Mana Kai is an emerging framework for a food strategy in Aotearoa. It's based on indigenous Māori values and creates a holistic vision for a food system. Mana Kai has 3 domains. To promote environmental well-being, food systems should respect the social order of humanity and nature. This means protecting land and water from the negative effects of agriculture, and even farming in a way that benefits the environment. It also means sharing resources and acknowledging the spirits present in nature. Food systems should ensure human well-being by protecting knowledge and promoting indigenous sovereignty. Food production should also distribute wealth fairly, provide good nutrition, and be done in a respectful way. If Mana Kai is successful, we would see Aotearoa's food system shift from prioritising financial bottom lines to putting ecosystems and people first. Not all countries have a national food strategy yet. They're fairly new and take a lot of political and social willpower to establish. But despite not having a food strategy, people in Aotearoa and Chile are still pressing for change and creating it themselves. Namalia is an organisation based in the south of Chile. Their objective is to promote diets that are healthy, clean and just. This means that their practices are based on agroecology, balancing farming with ecosystem health, and procuring resources within geographic limits, which reduces emissions from transport. In Aotearoa, Ruimata Food Commons is a community in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, that transformed a local park into a food forest. They now offer produce to locals without asking for anything in return, which also alleviates the effects of food insecurity. Even if you don't have these initiatives nearby, there are still things you can do every day to make your diet more planet-friendly. According to Project Drawdown, a world-leading climate change project, a plant-rich diet ranks 3rd out of 80 solutions to climate change. A diet rich in plants and low in meat tends to be lower in emissions and is healthier, which reduces your risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease. Even one meatless day a week is great work. That's not to say climate change is your fault for having steak, but cutting back on high-impact foods here and there can go a long way. Fundamentally, Chile and Aotearoa have very similar problems, many of which are rooted in dysfunctional food systems. They're causing poor human and planetary health, but the solutions people are finding in both places are very similar. High-level changes like a national food strategy can have far-reaching effects throughout a food system, while community-led efforts can directly serve people in need and create more resilient networks that make sure people have access to delicious and healthy food whenever they need it. Food systems are not set in stone. They can adapt, and we can reduce the intensity of climate change through food, and also make systems more resilient to climate change. By reimagining food, we can create a better future.